Hi, this is Zion Comics here to bring you another video, and this is going to be a weird one. So, if you've seen the title, if I worked it out correctly, it's got something to do with Grey's Anatomy and in the invasion of Star Wars. And yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense, I know, but just bear with me. Keep following with me. So there's a little bit of a backstory to this. So me and my wife just got finished watching Star Wars, and so since I got to pick what we watch, then she gets to pick what we watch afterwards. And she picked Grey's Anatomy. And I'm using it kind of like a scared straight type thing, watching these people get cut into for eating poorly, not taking better care of themselves, stuff like that. Kind of makes it's like, ooh, okay, I better start eating better and exercising. It's working a little bit. And yeah, we're a couple episodes in, maybe like 10 episodes in, watching it. And there's a scene where the main character, her name's Ellen Pompeo, if I've pronounced it correctly, and she's talking to Katherine Heigl, who is they're kind of semi-friends, they're roommates. And Katherine Heigl gets mad because she's found out that Ellen Pompeo is sleeping with their boss. And they're on like some type of what do you call it? It's not an internship because you're still getting paid and everything, but it's kind of like an internship because they're all there. They're all just out of medical school. But if they graduate this program, that all the prestigious hospitals and stuff will want them and come after them. If they can't graduate, they're pretty much blackballed and they won't be able to hardly get anywhere at all, if I've understood that part correctly. So Katherine Heigl finds out, Ellen's sleeping with the boss. I think they call him McDreamy or something in this show. I forgot his real name. And she's like, she says something like, "It's stupid. Everything's come easy for you." She goes, "You're the daughter of a famous surgeon who everybody's is a legend." She goes, "You're extremely beautiful, and now you're getting to sleep with the boss, which means you basically get top picks for everything and shown favoritism, and everything is so easy for you." And when she said that, it's like a light bulb went off in my head, and I'm like, number one, it's true, and number two, this is the problem with men's media today. It's written by people that write shows like this. And it was like, you could replace Ellen Pompeo with Rey Skywalker, and it's essentially the same thing. She's the best at everything. Her ancestry means she's automatically awesome. And everything comes easy to her. And I was like, holy crap, it's like the people that wrote Grey's Anatomy. I know Shonda Rhimes and I guess maybe a team of other writers. And I know this is not really what's happening, but it's like the people that write that show are writing men's media. You name it. Masters of the Universe. The new Marvel movies. Everything. It's essentially what's wrong today. And what I mean by that is that you can't write for one audience while thinking about another audience. And what I mean by that is, if you're writing a men's show, you can't write it like you would a woman's show, and vice versa as well. You can't write a woman's show like you would a men's show. And the reason why I bring that up is because right after Katherine Heigl said that previous quote, she goes on something goes on this tangent and says, while everything's come easy for you, it's been hard for me. She says, I came from like a trailer park, she says, and so she's got no prestigious family that she can piggyback off of. She had to work her way through medical school by being a model to pay for it, whereas, Ellen Pompeo's famous mom paid for it. And when she goes into the hospital itself, people don't respect her. They look down on her. So she has to go in there and try every single day to prove them wrong. While when Ellen Pompeo goes in, everybody automatically gets her respect. And I'm like, if this was written as a men's show, let's just reverse it and say this was written as a men's show for men, Katherine Heigl would be the main character, because you have somebody that starts off at the bottom and is working there hard to get to the top. And we find that more interesting. We want to see somebody, struggle and strive, but succeed in the end and overcome obstacles. Whereas Ellen Pompeo never has any obstacles. Like I was saying, the toughest choice that she has is, there was one point where they go, you can say the truth about what you did in the surgery that could have caused this patient to die, or you could lose, but if you do, you lose your job. And she's like, oh no, what do I do? And so she eventually ends up telling the truth, and they put it to where she almost lost her job, but then they go, you told the truth anyway, so that was probably a good thing, so congratulations, you're A-okay. And I'm like, see, if this was if this were written for men, what we'd want to see is she makes the choice to tell the truth, and they say, okay, you're fired. And she'd be like, oh no. So she'd be fired out of the hospital, but she still wants to struggle, and she still wants to be a surgeon. So she would end up having to go to a different hospital that's a lot, harder and crazier and probably nasty looking. And so she's got to work her way in there, gain everybody else's respect, and try to improve the hospital and stuff, and struggle with that. That's what we'd want to see. Whereas in what has actually happened in this show that's written for women is that they want to say, well, her toughest choice is between McDreamy and McSteamy. Which one does she go with? And that's the thing. So I'm not trying to put down women's shows or anything like that. It's simply like what Literature Devil said in one of his videos. Female shows in like anime or manga is about, choice between significant others. They find that interesting. It's like Twilight. Remember when Twilight came out? Biggest choice. She picked Wolf Boy or Vampire Guy. That was her big choice for 4 or 5 movies. That was her tough choice. And women ate that up, and that's fine. The problem is when you try to, bring that to Star Wars and say, well, Rey's tough choices between Kylo Ren and Finn, and now she really never looked at Finn that way. But, don't do that. If you're writing for a men's show, write for a men's show. Just as the opposite. I don't think women would appreciate men coming in and writing women's shows like men's shows. They don't want to come in and see guns everywhere, people getting cut in half by shotguns, and things like that. I don't think they would appreciate that, and that's fine. That's why you have to write for the specific audience you're writing for, and not trying to write for a different audience or appease all audiences. You can't do that. That's the number one thing in like marketing and business. You can't appease everyone. You have to pick one select audience and go with it. And you have to, and if you've already got a set audience that's already been there, like a Marvel, like a Star Wars, like a Masters of the Universe, you don't suddenly switch and say, well, this has been a men's franchise or media this entire time, but now we got to have more women into it, so let's instead have right for women in these shows. You don't do that. And the funny thing is, you probably do have the other side does watch your show. There are plenty of women that watch Marvel movies, even when they were geared toward men. There were plenty of women that loved Star Wars before they did Episode 7. It's not like they never watched these shows and never cared about them. Now, you're not going to get the same amount as you would your specific audience you're going for. And there's plenty of men that watch probably Grey's Anatomy and enjoy it. And there probably was some guys that watched Twilight, either ironically or unironically. So it's not like it's an all for nothing. You're still going to get some of the other side, but don't try to write it as you would the other side or write for everyone. You can't do that. So I know that was a weird tangent I went on. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Hopefully this made a lot of sense of what's going on today. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.